Now it's my honor of introducing our next speaker, our first Madam Mayor, the Honorable Karen Bass.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilman Price, and thank you, Mr. Council President, for an opportunity to speak to you today on the beginning of Black History Month, African American History Month, around the country that will be in Los Angeles this week. So I just wish us all well as we celebrate African American History Month. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Harris-Dawson, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for being with us. Mr. Harris-Dawson, before you begin, we do have a full council chamber today, and so those who are standing in the back, I think there's some seats up front if you would like to come in and join us. But since we have many people who may be new to our council meetings, I just want to make clear that we will not allow any shouting out or disturbance that interrupts this meeting or any of the speakers who are at the podium. I did hear Mr. Sachs. I heard you shouting out while the mayor was trying to speak. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that you'll be subject to removal from the council meeting if you disturb or delay the work of this council. Mr. Harris-Dawson.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. President. I will note for the record that Mr. Arnold Sachs shouted out 3 times while our mayor was speaking. So, Mr. City Attorney and Mr. President, I want to make sure that's on the record. One of the great things about being an Angelino is that this is a city where the African-American struggle, the struggle towards justice and equality, is something that is shared. It isn't just a enterprise of the Black community and their supporters. It's shared across our city, in every office, in every department, and every section of our city. And I want to call up 2 folks who've been champions.
Good morning. Thank you, Councilmember Harris-Dawson, and happy Black History Month, everybody. Black History Month is Los Angeles City history.
Get a hold of that guide and make a commitment to do at least a few things. Today we're very excited to begin the presentation of our honorees that we have today. We've got an exciting roster of honorees. I'm especially to begin that presentation by presenting the Hall of Fame Award for Outstanding Achievement in Higher Education to our own Dr. Harry Elam. Dr. Harry Elam is the president of one of our great colleges, the one and only Occidental College in Los Angeles, California. It's one of the oldest liberal arts campuses anywhere in the United States. It's a jewel in this city that hopefully we've all been to. Dr. Elam previously served as the vice president of undergraduate education at Stanford University.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember De Leon.
A friendly substitute motion for item number 15, which has been agreed upon.
Number 15?
Yes. I think Andrew is out there screaming and yelling.
Yes, and
Yeah, right
so is the city attorney, does the city attorney have the substitute motion?
I do, but before we begin, Mr. Gravener, I have heard you multiple times during this meeting yell out, including during the presentations. So consider this your first and only formal warning. Do not disrupt this meeting.
And I would like also to ask our guests, we're delighted to have you here, but if, as you're exiting the chambers, if you could please try to keep the conversations down so we can continue with our work.
So, Ms.
Sachs, Andrew Graebner, Dr. Critical Truth Bay, Stacy Cigar Bollinger. Did I say Andrew Graebner? Okay, Andrew Graebner, and Marcel Farmer and Sandra Burgess, please.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
All right, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, okay. So and I need my general comment. If you're going to enforce
3 minutes, so Mr. Graebner, you have 3 minutes for the items. Please begin.
All right, so let's start off with item 13, I think it was. The 13 is a street banner campaign for the Tarzana Neighborhood Council. It'd be nice if you'd actually listen to. Neighborhood councils are kind of the opposite extremes. Sometimes you have good things, sometimes you have absolutely terrible things. Maybe you should listen to the good things, So let's do that. We have community beautification services in CD4. Let's see, we have 16. That's a street banner campaign for the tourism, travel association, thing. Maybe if you want to get tourism to the city, maybe get rid of the known racist on the council. Let's see, we have item 17. Speaking of that, a motion from Kevin De Leon and Nuri's proxy Imelda Padilla for a pedestrian hybrid beacon in CD14. Now, some of you may be curious about Kevin's actual record when it comes to pedestrian safety. Kevin's done these sweeps in Tarimi Plaza, and he makes unhoused people cross a busy street, carrying all their stuff, putting them in danger, putting pedestrians in danger, the unhoused people being the pedestrians. So it looks like Kevin doesn't actually care as much about pedestrian safety as it sounds like, if he's forcing unhoused people to cross the busy street, without closing the street, without doing anything to help protect the unhoused people crossing the street. So that's Kevin's actual record on pedestrian safety, in case any of you were curious, which I know most of you aren't, because you're all cowards or racists and love Kevin De Leon. We have item 18, vehicle recycling from Kevin De Leon and city staffer B. I'm noticing, why isn't anyone here? So vote no on anything Kevin De Leon introduces. Kevin shouldn't have anything on the council, and you're doing your virtue signaling for Black History Month, so maybe you should act on that a little bit and not vote for Kevin De Leon's motions. But you're not going to do that because you're putting on a show, and meanwhile, secretly illegally banning black women downstairs. If you're going to enforce part of Council Rule 7, the part that you have has to apply to you, too.
Speaker, your time has
I
expired.
need my general comment.
Thanks very much. Next speaker, please. Stop shouting out or you'll be removed.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
All items, please.
Okay,
I
so you
will
have
just
3 minutes for the
note,
items.
as a point of information, you guys still have public testimony of non-agenda items at the top of the agenda. So just something to consider. Maybe put it at the end of the agenda if that's where you actually want it. Okay, I guess we'll start with 13. Street banners. That's stupid. We shouldn't do that. It's a waste of money. 14. Funding for beautification services in District 4. That's a nice sounding motion. We like for things to be beautiful. This is a motion for $270,000, and that's a big chunk of change. I serve on a neighborhood council, just so everyone's aware. Nothing I say is representing them, only myself. But I will say, serving on a neighborhood council, when we propose funding items, we have to account for literally every penny. So, if we want to beautify something, we have to specify what that is and what the expenditures will be. So it's always odd to me to see motions for $270,000, these huge amounts, but then it's just vague language for beautification services. Any other agency or organization, along with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps, for the above purposes. So it's just like, we're gonna spend this much making it pretty, and that means so many different things to so many people. So it would be cool if the president wouldn't entertain funding motions with such a vague language. You have the power to say no, make this more specific. 15, we're gonna amend something that took place already, cool. 16 street banners, that's dumb, let's not, let's just save our money. 17, De Leon and Padilla, want to do a pedestrian hybrid for safety. I love pedestrian safety, but I don't like how this council body has enabled racist Kevin De Leon to rewrite his legacy of racism with motions like this. And today someone was up here saying that this council body has not been part of iniquities for non-white communities, and that gave me a really good laugh considering Kevin is still here presenting motions. Also with Staffer B, $150,000 from general city purposes to go where? To the LAPD. To do what? Whatever the fuck they want. Because it says in the motion that they can make corrections, clarifications, changes orally or electronically by any other means. So we have a racist today giving a racist, corrupt, gang member-ridden organization a bunch of money. Happy Black History Month. Cool. I can't stay for general because I got to get to work, but as always, shout out to Smoke and Scan. Brock Landers, reach out to me. Let's schedule an interview.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Good morning, Mr. City Attorney. I'd like to speak to 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Okay, so you have
Public
3
comment will be
minutes.
taken later.
Correct. So you have 3 minutes for the items right now. Please begin.
Okay, Tarzana, they're going to be putting on a street banner program. So I wonder if they're going to use those fathead posters for the street banners. They'd be uplifting. A fathead poster announcing the celebration of Tarzana. By the way, did you know the history of Tarzana? It was named Tarzana after the film Tarzan and the Ape Man. I don't know why they don't celebrate the ape that was in that film, Cheetah, C-H-E-E-T-A. That was a very important, actor in that film.
So, Mr. Sachs, I'm going to ask that you bring it back to the item, please.
I'm talking about Tarzana, the street, the fathead posters. They should use a poster for the city of Tarzan showing Tarzan, who was Ron Ely. Wasn't it Ron Ely who played Tarzan, the first Tarzan? And Cheetah was the chimp, and Jane was an also ran.
So, Mr. Sachs, you've exhausted your time on that item.
Okay,
Please
so
move on to another item.
Amy.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
All available items.
So you have 3 minutes for the items. Please begin.
All right, so you transferring $150,000, CD14, hi Kevin, to the police fund. It's Black History Month. You had a wonderful 3-hour presentation. But when you leave those seats, do you apply for the funding? Did you respond to the funding that we applied for? $150,000 to Skid Row services would be more applied, right? So while you're eating, I know it's very important to eat, I am very serious about Black History Month. The symbolism, politics, it's not going to work. So we're asking that the fund that you're transferring to police to try to transfer to community services, harm reduction that doesn't include meth and fentanyl pipes handed out to homeless citizens, giving them resources as needed. I haven't been here a while because I'm tired of looking at your poverty pimping faces, to be quite honest with you. And I'm on 18, so I'm going to close because I'm going to wait for public comment, but I'm going to ask the funding from CD8 and CV14 that we request for Black History Month to actually fund it, and not have Capri Maddox give us a dog and shonipo here. We appreciate that. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you. As our next speaker is coming up, I'm also going to call Spindler for agenda items, and I believe I've called all the names of people who wish to speak on agenda items on the regular meeting. The special meeting will come.
Yes, that's right. Good morning, you Armenian terrorists.
Which
All items.
Speak to the
general
agenda
public
items
comment.
or sit down.
You have 3 minutes for the items. Please begin.
Yes, thank you, pumpkin asshole. So we have item number 3, Bourbon Blood's favorite neighborhood council, Tarzana. Yes, we're going to put up banners to encourage people not to go. Oh, let's give them a hand for that. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. Yes, hold on here. Yes, neighborhood councils are a waste of goddamn fucking time. And then, of course, number 14, Too Much, Too Little, Too Late, by Nithya Ramen Noodle. Ethan Weaver for city council. But she's pouring money in by the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I wish Tracy Park would take the lead, what Ramen's doing. Pouring all that money in there, yes. Finally, we're going to get some city services to get rid of the drug needles and the homeless criminals off of Van Nuys Boulevard over there on Burbank Boulevard. But you should have been doing that years ago. Yes, while I was at home recovering from your fake pandemic. And then, of course, number 15. Yes, look at that, Kevin. 600 spaces and not giving Goat Puppet one single free parking space and Mr. Herman a free one. Why don't you give those parking spaces to people that attend these meetings? And then they can come here and then they can validate. Imagine free parking to come here to face the Armenian terrorists that we're facing here. We face the demon and we have to pay for that? No, we should be getting free parking. Right? Yep, right there, Unisys. How about it? Free parking for council visitors. What do you say?
No, I'm a communist.
Oh, okay, I thought so. And then we get to number 16. Tourism Department. Fuck the tourism department. Stay away from downtown Los Angeles, especially over by Crypto.com Arena. They're tagging all the buildings. It's dangerous. Don't go there. Go to Fort Lauderdale. That's a nicer place. And then number 17, the pedestrian hybrid for Kevin for $175,000. Fuck that project, Kevin. Put it in downtown and remove the homeless criminals out of the area, like Little Tokyo. And then 7, another Kevin motion by Staffer B. John Lee the Demon. $150,000 for the police fund. Laundering money. So let's sing the song. I launder money and I want to get reelected. Yes, but it won't happen, will it? No.
All right, we're going to go next to the phones for
18 on upgrading the cop cars. I think if we could upgrade some of the cop cars with net guns and cool shit like that, it's hard to imagine smoke and scan getting any cooler. But if we could see a criminal getting taken down by a net gun from a cop car, I think that would do it. That would be almost as cool as when I figured out how to undo Misty Winter's beard by squeezing her, or undo her bra by squeezing her boobs.
Okay, you're not speaking to the agenda item. Get to the agenda or you'll be cut off.
Hey, you can just call me daddy and say please, you little
Okay,
prick.
you're done.
You made me sit through
You're
all
done.
this fucking
You're
time
done.
of you
You're done.
pandering
Next
people
caller, please.
for
You're
what?
done.
You little douchebag.
Next caller, please.
Yes, this is Jason. I'm a smoke and scan viewer.
Yes, and which items would you like to speak to?
Which items are available there, sir?
The items that are available for public comment are 13 through 18.
Let me get 16 then, if you would, please, brother.
Okay, so you have 1 minute for item 16. Please begin.
All right, cool. Thank you there, brother. And just so we have the proper understanding there, I just want to make sure that, Paul Kokorin is not allowed to call me a nigger because it's Black History Month there,
caller,
right?
this is not
So
item
we're not gonna have that
16.
problem?
Item 16 it deals with Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board and is a
And that's
street
not
banner
about Paul
program.
Kokorin calling me a nigger, is it?
So again, caller, you are off topic, so we're going to move on to the next caller.
A lot of talk. Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
This is Shelly Babes. Calling, smoke and scan.
So,
Name's the man.
good afternoon. Which items would you like to speak to?
All communist war pig items.
So you have 3 minutes for the items. Please begin.
All your spending is bullshit. It's just to justify your communist jobs. You think that you're elitist, but really you're way down the totem
So,
pole.
caller, I need you to
Because they're gonna
identify which
switch
item
you.
you're speaking to. I cannot tell which item you're speaking to.
Spending on your communist banners to promote communists to move into the neighborhoods. You sick pieces of shit, race-baiting communist war pig. Nothing gets solved because you wouldn't have a job if it did.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yeah, hi. All items in general public comment, please.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes for the
General
items.
later.
Please begin.
I'm sorry, how many minutes?
You have 3
Okay,
minutes
great.
for the items. Go ahead and start as time went over. You have 3 minutes for the items.
Okay.
That's items 13 through 18.
Great, got it. Item 14. By the way, this is for identification purposes only. DanielGus.substack.com. I'll be on 790 KABC talking about some of this stuff at 1:30 today on 790 KABC with John Phillips.
Speak to
Item
the agenda,
14,
Mr.
for
Gus.
example. Well, I am. That's for identification purposes only. I will be speaking on 790 KABC, perhaps about item 14. This is a very cynical item where Ms. Rahman is in peril of losing her job like her predecessor did after one term. And so all of a sudden, after diarrhea and human brains and other body matter splattered all throughout the corpse-laden Council District 4, just before the primary, hundreds of thousands of dollars for community beautification services in Council District 4. All of a sudden, 6 weeks before the primary, I might be speaking about this item on 790 KABC at 1:30 p.m. Moving on to the next item, item number 16. I might be speaking about this at 1:30 on 790 KABC with John Phillips. Tourism. Are you kidding me? Have you guys done any sort of study as to the effectiveness of these street banner programs when you guys have basically treated the city's streets like a wretched, infected toilet bowl? And street banners for tourism? I can't imagine anybody coming to Los Angeles based on a street banner. And by the way, if you have street banners up, what good is that for tourism if the people who you want to bring to Los Angeles and the conventions that you want to bring to Los Angeles can't see the street banners? This makes less sense than any other street banner program. I might be speaking about this item on 790 KABC. Let's see. What else? Item number 18. You know what? Mr. DeLeon's doing the right thing, using these funds for vehicle recycling services. But what's not clear to me is whether this is for recycling police vehicles or vehicles that people are living in, possibly illegally, on the streets of CD14. But once again, it appears that Mr. DeLeon is doing the things that are expected of a council member. And it looks like he's going to get reelected pretty handily as far as I can tell. And I might be speaking about this on 790 KABC with John Phillips at 1:30. I'll be back for the special agenda and the general public comment.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, this is Ruth. For the Council District 4 item, the $270,000 for beautification, I wish it was like itemized. There's a lot of lights out on Ventura and the river, and they have been out since 2019. I tried to get them repaired. Saw a line item on that included those, and hopefully replacing them with solar, because then the copper wouldn't get stolen this time, and they could actually work at illuminating an area which has had some high crime since the lights have been out. There's been murders. I am curious if the Conservation Corps is using like community service labor.
Caller, it's a little hard to hear you. If you could speak up, that would be helpful. Thank you.
I'm sorry, with helicopters. Sorry about that. So the other item I want to speak on is Council District 14, the vehicle recycling.
Caller, are you still there? Now we can't hear you at all. So
You can't hear me at all?
Okay, now we can hear you again.
Okay,
Please
sorry,
continue.
there was a helicopter going by. I'm outside. So, yeah, Council District 14, vehicle recycling. This is not a good agenda item, and this should not be passed. Giving LAPD people's personal vehicles is not good. Like, people should be able to keep their vehicles, and they should not be towed away by LAPD. And they're not really recycled. Recycling them would be fixing them and keeping them in the possession of their owners or other owners that are members of the public. The LAPD is not going to recycle them. They're going to destroy them, shred them, and sell them for scrap. Like, this isn't actually good for the environment, and this isn't actually good for the community or people. It's only good for LAPD. I don't know why we can find spaces in LAPD garages for them to keep towing vehicles to, but we can't find legal parking spaces for people to actually just park in legally. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why can't we allocate spaces for public parking legally instead of spaces in LAPD garages?
So, caller, you've used your 1 minute on item 18. Please move on to another item.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was trying to speak on 4. I don't know if you heard me, but I was wondering if the civilian or the LA Conservation Corps, if they're using community service hours for diversion, like through the courts. Like, basically, are these people working for a salary, or are they...
Caller, your time has expired. Next caller.
Item 13, this is, of course, the Tarzana Street Banner Program, and I just want to say shout out to Smoke and Scan. I think they are far more effective than a street banner program. I don't know if you know, but their live streams of these meetings actually get thousands and thousands and thousands of views and put Holly's stream to shame. I find Mr. Landers to be a very poor ambassador, and they might be a bit right-wing for my taste, but they understand how horrible the snake pit is and are spreading civic education across City Hall and your dumpster fire across this country. So it's just beautiful. For item number 17, this is a De Leon Padilla motion, and I just want to note, as to this motion, we need to buy the clerk some new stamps. I don't know if you saw, but they hit this motion 3 times, and it's just completely illegible. I would bet 1 fraction of a second of LAPD spending could cover buying them a whole new set of stamps in perpetuity. For item, before I move on, I just want to say, Councilmember Padilla, wherever you are, it's sad to see you buddying up with Kevin here. Expect better, but, you know, Marissa was far worse. For item 18, De Leon and Lee. John Lee doing what he does best, and really the only fucking thing he does other than sit there silently cowering, and that is shoveling money to LAPD. And it shouldn't be lost on anybody that right now, the Police Protective League is funding a $364,000 field campaign to get him reelected. All of you around the horseshoe, wouldn't it be nice to get a $364,000 field campaign? We're over a month from Election Day. It's absolutely disgusting. Look forward to seeing a few of you vote no on this, maybe. Wish it were more. I'll use my time.
Okay, number 13. Always, we got a lot of situations going on here. You guys are robbing the public in plain sight. Those banners you keep printing, you maybe go with a digital platform. You guys keep putting these banners up. They cost money to put them up. They cost money to print them. Use a recycling center situation where you can do a digital thing and just change what the verbiage is on those things. Come to the future. You keep spending money on time recycling when those things could be up there as public awareness, TVs, cameras, whatever you want. Come to the new age. 14, or excuse me, let's go to 14.
Yes, go ahead.
On number 14, 14. It gets old when we keep seeing everyone talk about doing this work. You guys just proposed to remove $280 $283 million. $283 million. So how are you going to restaff the people, the vacancies in the public works? You're in negotiations right now, and yet these people are not aware that there is no money to rehire anyone. It'd be great for you guys to turn around, inform the people that are actually going to be affected by your moves. Talk to them before you vote on something. Everything you vote on should be special. It shouldn't be a cluster F of situations you vote on together. Because every time you do that, no one even knows what they're voting on. Number 17. Again, we go back to, we have Kevin De Leon and Nuri Martinez working again. They're working together. Nothing has changed. We changed the name and the face. That friendship with Emilda Padilla goes through Nuri Martinez. The same people that got her elected. Every time he says something, he backs it. She backs it, excuse me. It just isn't going to change unless you change your representative.
So, Speaker,
Richard
I can't
Serrano,
tell which item
write-in
you're on, so
candidate.
please bring this back to the agenda
Number
items.
17. You got Emilda Padilla and Kevin De Leon. Funding. Okay, we're going back to money and two people that were constituent, the same platforms that were in the racist comments that tore our city apart. Don't give them
So
money.
again, I'm going to need you to bring it back to the
before the public
actual
election.
item, which is the pedestrian hybrid beacon.
We're going back to Kevin De Leon and Emilda Padilla.
Caller, your time
on
has
number-
expired.
All right. All right, members, those items are now before us. Do any members wish to be heard? Seeing none, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
13 ayes.
It says 3 minutes right here.
Good afternoon. So you have 1 minute for general public comment.
Okay, thank you. Wow, I'd like to see Simi Park right there. That is so nice to see her. What a piece of garbage you are. Your office has asked me through Bloomingfield, one of your deputies called me that I wasn't telling the truth about the racism that you caused, that you settled on, and how you got kicked off, a bunch of other things. That was so nice of you, Park. You're just a piece of garbage. You really are, what you've done to people. Yeah, put up that middle finger nice and loud. As to Mr. Krikorian, you need to tell Mr. Bloomfield what you did to him in this little report that I got through Discovery. I don't think that was very nice of you. Even though I'm a proud Republican, I think Bob is a nice guy. I think several of the Democrats are nice and realistic people. But you cut me off pretty well. And I think I'll forward other things over to certain people so you can explain yourself. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Thank you, sir. You know, the great John Wayne was one time quoted as saying, I will not be wronged, I will not be insulted, and I will not be laid a hand upon, and I will not do that to others. And I want to speak out to Smoke and Scan. You know, I hope you folks will do a little research before you talk about me. You say that I'm in the pockets of the council. I mean, if one councilman would ever even raise their hand and say, yeah, he does now. I'm not in anybody's pocket. I'm only in for the city and for law and order. So please do your research, check, make sure your facts are straight, because you're absolutely wrong. I'm in nobody's pocket. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your time. My name is Marcel Farmer, and I'm coming up here to serve public comment on my personal situation. I'm currently at First and Serve facility. It's a transitional facility. I am a HMIS member, which means that that's the data used to give to the government for when you guys receive funding for homeless outreach. I've been there since April. I haven't received any housing yet, so I know that you guys have an oath of office and you guys are public servants. So what I'm telling you to do is to do an audit and to find out why I haven't received any service. And I'm putting you on notice that if you do not do this, you will be derelict of duties and I will have your seat. And I do have a legal background, so I'm giving you the opportunity, administrative process, to take care of this. Failure to do so, your seat will be taken. So.
Yes. So now we're in the general public, and that's good, Bob. You keep Simi parking there, and I think she'll have you in handcuffs in a few years. Oh, let's give my, yeah. That's right. After all, who do you think put her in there, right? Did he have a pair of horns? Perhaps. Now, as you see, the Armenian Grosseherder is putting the public comment at the end of the meeting and fucking us again. Why won't Nithya stop it? Why won't Unissa stop it, right? That's why Ethan Weaver for City Council CD4. And then for CD14, Wendy Carrillo, the party animal. I'm an animal and I support my fellow party animals for CD14. Let's make a new rule. Every council member gets one term, and then they get booted out of this fucking place with no pension. What do you say, people?
Your time has expired.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
Comment?
Sachs.
Thank you. People were talking about money laundering. Just so you know, J.G. Wentworth is advertised on the buses. That's a way to launder lottery winnings, drug money. Drug dealers launder drug money by using J.G. Wentworth, people who win the lottery. They get contacted by J.G. Wentworth and they get an offer. By the way, are you going to use the VAP? Or are you going to go back to the old system, the VAP that's owned by Mark Ridley Thomas? You don't want to use that for the upcoming vote. You're still stealing public funds. Everybody's talking about equity. What about equality? Rosa Parks was all about equality, wasn't she? John Walsh was the one who started, if you're black, get on back, and if you're white, you're all right. But there are no white people, and there are no black people. He was racist.
All right.
It's all about melatonin.
Thank you. Your time's expired, Mr. Sachs. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, I said pretty much what I needed to say earlier. I really hope that we do have more resources for black people in general. We have a lot of black youth that's being released from prison, and there's no harm reduction. They're actually getting teed off for marijuana when you actually have fentanyl and meth addicts in that same facility not being addressed. And so what I'm saying is Black History Month. So guys, if you can, just for 30 seconds, pretend that you're listening and care about our black issues while you do the whole show of presentations. Danny Bakewell, we appreciate him being the chairman because his father was part of the dialogue with Nuri Martinez, right, about gentrification and redistricting, but everyone forgot about that. So I'm hoping when you do leave these seats that you actually do adopt a black person. I think that'll help. Adopt a black person. Maybe that'll do something different.
Thank you, Dr. Treat.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll go next to the callers on the phone. Let's take the first caller for general public comment. Mr. Sachs, you need to stop shouting out. You've been warned multiple times throughout this meeting. I'm telling you right now, if I hear you again, you're gone. Next speaker.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
Okay, even subhuman lowlife Nuri Martinez said, if you are indicted, you will be suspended from this council. Petty, pink-faced, corrupt Armenian dictator Paul Ku Klux Krikorian is even lower than Martinez because he has indicted out on bail embezzling criminal Curran Price, voting daily on this corrupt, sleazy council. And we wonder why there are 60,000 plus homeless people on the streets. Sleazy Marquise Dawson is the worst thing to ever happen to the black community. Black women are only 4.3% of the population, but 22% of female rape, 36% of female assault, 33% of female homicide, and 33% of all female violence. The black community has zero representation from these incompetent, corrupt, sellout, self-serving, indicted black Uncle Tom members of this corrupt city council.
Next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Randy, member of the Smoke and Scan family. That should be number 10. Shout out to Damon and Stinks. I'm glad you're starting to feel better, Damon. To the City Council, I just want to say how shameful it is that Mayor Bass only shows up when there's a photo op like today for Black History Month. Where is she for all other meetings? What a great representative of the city. Also, how can you offer a framed poster to a 100-year-old African-American woman, but only an O-Pee-Chee folder to the 100-year-old Caucasian veteran soldier you honored a couple weeks ago? He deserves just as much of an honor as anyone. It's complete disgust. To Mr. Sachs, we all love you, and I'd like to say you have an open invitation to appear on Smoke and Scan anytime. We'll fix the L period, A period problem for you together. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Next.
Good afternoon, Brock Landers, Los Angeles Private Investigators. 50 Guns, I lost a lot of respect for you on Wednesday when you were talking about the cameras. Ben Franklin once said, ouch, that shocked me. No, that wasn't it. Those who would give up essential liberties to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. Rob, I'm not a poor ambassador. I'm a law enforcement type guy. I didn't become a private investigator for the money. I did it to help people, you know, to stop bad individuals from drug smuggling and, you know, extorting and, you know, jewelry sales, stuff like that. And it's like I told Monica, I'm a sweet acquired taste. And why are there so many oppressed African-American people in Los Angeles if it's been controlled by Democrats for 26 years? I think that we should fire the city controller if all the African-American ladies are paid 73% less than white men.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
Hello.
Go ahead,
Hello?
caller. Go ahead.
I would just like to say that I'm adding to the Smoke and Scan family numbers. Thank you. Don't kill lobsters.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
Go ahead,
Yes,
caller.
my name is Jason. I'm a Smoke and Scan viewer, and I just like to say, Kokoro, we out here. Smoke and Scan forever there, brother. And Angel Day. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
Next caller.
Next caller, please.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
Hello, this is Chest Rockwell, Rocklanders,
No,
and
you already spoke.
investigation partner
You already
and
spoke.
part-time
Next,
musician.
next caller, please, Mr. He already spoke.
Speaker, you have 1 minute.
It's Rob Kwan. Just want to say hi to Fable. Sorry I missed you. Was happy to see you in the chair for a second. And to Mr. Landers, you know, if you weren't so sexist sometimes, it'd be a little bit easier to forgive you for some of your stuff. But anyway, I want to talk about something audacious. How many of you around the Horseshoe have heard about Paul's plan for the Charter Commission? Paul Krikorian wants to appoint 4 people to the commission. And for the other 14 council members, you're shit out of luck. You'll be left begging him to make the right choice on your behalf. Isn't that amazing? A termed out lame duck rep who have left the council for 2 years prior to this thing going on the ballot is going to choose nearly a third of the commissioners? I hope y'all are talking behind the scenes about this, because this is just some really, really silly stuff. And we had Mayor Bradley brought up today, and I think it's just a beautiful illustration.
Thank you. That will conclude general public comment for this meeting. Mr. Clerk, what's now before us in the regular meeting?
Good afternoon. Which items would you like to speak to?
19 and 20.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes for the item.
The City Council must move forward the motion of having LHD to do their basic job of writing a report and appraisal on how a city-sponsored affordable housing could be preserved. 6 years of fighting. The families of Hillside Villa have been fighting still a 300% rent increase. This shouldn't have happened. In May 2022, the City Council voted for LHD to appraise and acquire Hillside Villa once and for all. Now, 2 years later, almost 40 families are in eviction court. This should not have happened. This Monday, the San Bernardino court gave access to Hillside Villa to be appraised. Our tenants drove 1 hour each way to just serve witness to this 1 minute process because they needed to see that with their own eyes. They shouldn't have to do that. All of this could have been prevented if the City Council hold their apartments accountable for keeping people housed. Let me remind everyone, none of this should have been happening because this was built with city funds with the goal of affordable housing. We heard that there was a new day in City Hall. We haven't seen it yet. We're still waiting for that day to come.
Yeah, I'm speaking on agenda item 19 and 20. Can I start?
Yes, go right ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Almost 2 years ago, we were here celebrating because after 3 years of organizing, the city finally took the first step toward keeping the 124 units at Hillside affordable. And we asked LHD to give a report on our situation in 30 days. Almost 2 years later, and we're still waiting for that report. Here's what it should include. The landlord is still demanding tenants pay over 3 times their original rent. He over-reported the rent to ERAP, receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars more than he should be getting. HACLA goes along with the ridiculous rent increases and pay Tom Botts over $1 million each year. Meanwhile, we're fighting 35 eviction cases, and we expect even more families to be in the courts as well. We've lost tenant leaders who passed away in these 2 years, waiting for the city to make actual steps for affordable housing. We hear all the time that there's a state of emergency around homelessness. It's unacceptable that LHD and the city attorney's office have dragged their feet executing even the most basic instructions from city council to keep families off the street. This fight did not start 2 years ago. It did not even start 5 years ago, but it started at the beginning of the housing covenants because we all knew these affordable covenants would be expiring, and the city have been dragging their feet all these decades. Patting the wallets of landlords as supplementing their income is not the solution. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Yes, thank you. Arnold Sachs. I'd quickly like to point out that the top of your agenda.
Mr. Sachs, which items would you like to speak
to?
to?
I'm going to speak on both the items.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes for the items.
But I'd just like to point out your agenda includes a call-in option for public comment. Public comment will
speak to the agenda, Mr. Sachs.
I'm going to need you to speak to the agenda items, or are you going to forfeit your speaking time?
Mr. City Attorney, I don't mean to argue with you. You said there's no public comment in this meeting because it's a special meeting.
But you are arguing. Speak to the agenda or sit
Mr.
down.
Mr. Krikorian, how's your son and daughter-in-law?
Okay, you know what? You're done. You're done. Mr. Sachs, please take a seat. Your time has expired. Please take a seat.
Mr. Sachs,
I'm ordering you removed from the council chambers pursuant to Rule 12. You've been disrupting the meeting from the first moment we started, and you're continuing to disrupt the meeting. You're excluded from the meeting pursuant to Rule 12. And you're still shouting out now. Sergeants, please show him to the door. And while another member of the public is coming to the podium, Mr. Sachs is still shouting out and disrupting the meeting. But come on up, sir. Come on up. Come on up, sir.
Both items, Counselor.
Please go right ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Which items would you like to speak to?
I'm sorry, one moment, sir. Mr. Sachs, there's a member of the public who's trying to speak now, and you're still shouting gibberish. Get out of the room. I'm ordering you excluded from this room. Hurry up. You're disrupting and delaying the progress of this meeting. Sergeants. There's a member of the public who wants to offer comment. We can't hear it because of your shouting. I apologize. Please, go right ahead. You have 2 minutes. Sir.
Okay, Counselor, okay, both of them. One thing that I just don't understand on the lack of report, you have an individual over there named Simi Park. She could do the report, and she could make sure it's very socialistic, vague, and ambiguous, and also to cause you a lot of headache. I think that should be the number one thing she should do, is do the report on this. Unfortunately, this is all political currency, a lot of backroom issues. I wish you the best. And also, Mr. President, I am not Wayne Spindler. Thank you.
I certainly know that. Mr. Spindler, come on up.
Yes,
Good afternoon.
right.
Which items would you like to speak to?
Well, you know me, asshole. All items, right?
So you have 2 minutes for the items.
Yes,
Please
I
begin.
So we're calling on Unisys to do the right thing. The late Gil Cedillo, before you took his seat away from him, was going to save these apartments for these wonderful people, but you've been dragging your feet. Too slow. It's time now to acquire this goddamn building and lower the rents to what Goat Puppet believes is fair, $5.75 a month. What do you say? I say, fuck yeah. That's right, yes. Imagine Unisys finally starting out in the days when she was a renter, working over there at Universal City, being shit on and having her being accused of being overweight and all those racist remarks. Now she can save Asian people in Chinatown from being evicted. What a great fucking thing that would be. Yes, and too bad Kevin's not here. What a shame he's disappeared, because he would be here to help with this problem. Even Buckethead over there in the corner, he's sad. Even Tracy's having doubts about
Mr.
her
Spindler, I'm
own
going to need
abilities.
you to bring this back to the agenda items.
Yes, well now we're talking about what? Rent evictions, right? And people on the Paul Krikorian fake list of donors to receive rent assistance. Because Paul Martin Krikorian is a liar about everything. He lied to his first wife. He lied to his second wife. He lied to his constituents.
Again, this is your final warning.
That's
This is
right.
not on the agenda.
Yes, Buckethead, that's right. And so we want to say that Tracy this time, I believe, is wrong. Let's go ahead and extend the eviction moratorium till June 1st, 2024, and we will call it the Unisys Hernandez Saving People from Eviction Plan. What do you say? Let's get a second. How about you there, ramen noodle? Yes, you don't care anymore.
Speaker, your time has expired.
Okay. I've called. Oh, Candido, please.
Thank you. Candido Maris, AK-50 guns, 19 and 20. You know, I want to thank the residents for being here. You know, I just appreciate when the people who are fighting are here and, you know, express their feelings, especially since they've been stressed out so much. And this is 141 units. I remember it, and here we are all this, you know, a year and a half later. And I'm going to tie this in, Mr. Attorney, City Attorney. You know, we have a building downtown that's being graffiti. Why can't we take that same building and turn that over to residents who are middle income, seniors? Mr. President, maybe it's one of these things that you can do as your last official business, is to see if we could possibly buy that building and, again, get this 141 unit taken care of so these people don't have to live in stress. And I apologize as a resident that you guys are going through that. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. All right. We'll go now to the phones to speak about items 19 and Okay, speak with words, or we're going to move to the next caller. Next caller, please.
Speaker, which items would you like to speak on?
Yeah, it's Eric Previn. I'd like to speak on both items and let the record reflect.
Go right ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, you lowered my hand again, so I'm not happy with that. But let's get on to the Hillside Villas. Everybody remembers Gil Cedillo from CD1 and his long-term fight to try to purchase this property that has 140-something units. And it has just been so heartbreaking to hear from the residents who have been screwed. You know, they are people who come from around the region and live there and have been living there for 20, 25 years sometimes, and have families that are piled in there surviving, and the rent is going to be like doubled or something for some of them. From like, I read something like $1,250 to $2,500 in one case. And what's most upsetting is the way this city council just keeps bringing it back and chewing on it and using this group of residents almost to, like, I don't know, create like a kind of a mind bend that you're trying to be helpful. Well, why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? And why is the attitude of our council president so contentious with the public, as opposed to listening to what people have to say about the city and where we live? It's just really become vexatious. The behavior is vexatious, and it does a disservice to the men and women around the horseshoe to be such a prick. So I would really ask you to take general public comment from all the callers, not just leave Mr. Previn stranded, because it's awful. And I think you know better. Item 20 was an item that I can't quite see because I'm driving, to be fair. So I don't have anything to say on it other than to say good luck.
Thank you. That will close public comment on the 2 objection. That'll be the order. On item number 20, Councilmember Hernandez?
It is just going to be my first time to call it forthwith on that.
Oh,
one.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll have another time. Thank you.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're
There will
good.
be plenty of other opportunities.
Thank you.
All right. On item number 20.
Into these precious metals that are being cut up and sold to recycling centers, because the value, which only just gives more emphasis of what we need to do to crack down citywide against these individuals who are picking the city apart, part by part. But I just wanted to mention that right there.
Not to belabor the point, but I just read that as we're celebrating Black History Month beginning today, the county's designation of Bruce's Beach, that plaque has also now been stolen as well. It's an outrage. It really is. Any other announcements, members? Members, go forth and serve the city well. We are adjourned. Have a great weekend.